Morning, all. So, some good news. It looks like the NHL and the provincial health authorities and governments in Canada have got some sort of an agreement. Darren Dreger is expecting that we'll hear as soon as today that there's been something worked out where, yes, we will have Canada, all seven markets, hosting hockey games starting January 13th. There was a joint letter from all five provincial health looking at what they wanted to see from the NHL, which included increased testing, the possibility of a bubble. It doesn't sound like a bubble's happening. It's going to be in all seven Canadian markets. The players don't really have an appetite for it. The NHL wants to avoid it. It costs a lot more money. There are agreements they have with the arenas they play in, like sponsorship agreements, that if they're in a hub that they don't fulfill. So there's a lot more cost involved and a lot less income coming in at the same time. So this way, it sounds like we're going to have hockey, which is great. So there you go. Canada, we're set to go. And going to be a lot of back-to-backs and 4 games in a row or 5 games in a row in some cases of the same teams against each other. It is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. And it may mean, I don't know, like I've been thinking about the power rankings. I've been thinking, with this unique season, maybe we need something else other than power rankings. Maybe there needs to be something like what's been the best feud of the year. So, I could have like, let's say Carolina against Tampa. They have a 4-game set and it's fantastic. That's the best 4-game set we've seen this year. That kind of thing. Maybe I should start grading games. Right? And then we can see which teams are grading the highest. That could even work for our power rankings, where it would be most entertaining power rankings. You don't even have to be winning for those. That might be, there you go. That might be an interesting idea. Maybe we'll see how that goes. So, because again, this year's going to be different. So I'm going to need to do something a little different with it, and still keep it fun. And it'll be every Saturday night. That's the rule. Power rankings are every Saturday night. Now, if you're a Hawks fan, you're likely a little bit concerned. You've been a little bit concerned since the game between Canada and Russia, and fears confirmed. And it looked harmless. Kirby Dach, it's just a harmless collision with a Russian player, and he's fractured his wrist. So, most optimistically, it's a 4 to 6 week turnaround. If it's a bad fracture, we're looking at 6 to 8 weeks. But if it requires surgery, then it's worse. So basically, the Chicago Blackhawks want him to get to their facilities so they can take a better look and figure out what's going to happen. That's devastating for Chicago. Kirby Dach in the playoffs this past fall and summer, whenever the playoffs were, in the playoffs were it's weird. In August, Kirby Dach looked pretty good, and it is a huge blow to Chicago if Kirby Dach misses the start of the season, and if he's slow to get up to speed because of an injury. So here's to hoping he's 100% sooner rather than later. San Jose is going to have a tough time right out of the gate. They are starting 14 out of their first 18 games on the road. So the county they play in isn't allowing contact sports right now, and that's part of a lockdown, which we don't know when the end date's going to be, but the NHL's like, you know what, we'll just put San Jose on the road for a lot. So, for San Jose fans, upon seeing that schedule, that had to be kind of a bit of a kick in the gut, because it means that they're likely to start the season kind of slow. And this is after last year where, they kind of fell off the map. It is going to be hard for them going forward to get back into the playoffs. But if they can survive that 18-game stretch and say be 500 through those first 18 games, that could be a huge boost to them. You have to think after those 18 games, you're into March. By then, things should start opening up and they should be able to play at home. So yeah, fingers crossed on that one. Also coming out of the World Junior Championships, and worthy of note, is Devin Levi. Devin Levi was drafted by the Florida Panthers. That's the Florida logo. And he slipped in the draft because he's 6 feet tall. This is the world we live in now, where if a goaltender's 6 feet, or if he's 5'11", God forbid 5'11", he will slide in the draft. Scouts will say it's a bit small for a goaltender. And Levi, though it wasn't the toughest game that a goalie's had, he still ends up with a shutout. So it is possible Florida has themselves a steal with that player. Absolutely. And there's going to be a day, I think, where a goaltender being 6 feet tall rather than 6'7" or 6'8" isn't going to be seen as a huge difference maker if that goalie is acrobatic and has the reflexes to cover the net well. So, and I'm thinking like Saros as well in Nashville, where he's perceived as being a smaller goaltender. I get it. I do, because a bigger goaltender can cover more of the net. But there have been smaller goaltenders throughout the NHL's history that have been pretty good too. So that's worthy of a list at some point of goaltenders who were 6 feet or shorter and turned out to be pretty good goaltenders. So yeah, all the best to Levi and of course Team Canada. I may be Canadian, so I may be rooting for them starting on Boxing Day when they start against Germany. Last but not least, the Anaheim Ducks have re-signed Ryan Miller. I would like to thank Ryan Miller. This, of course, is my Ryan Miller jersey, complete with the 25 logo. I'd like to thank Ryan Miller for not forcing me to have to go out and find another Ryan Miller jersey. I have a Ryan Miller Buffalo, St. Louis, Vancouver jersey, as well as, of course, this Anaheim jersey. And if he'd gone somewhere else, I would have had to get another one. Because that became a thing, where I was able to get the St. Louis and Buffalo ones for cheap from Full Moon Jerseys on eBay. And then I got a Ryan Miller for cheap. I think that one came through Sport Check. And so when they had a sale on the customized jerseys on Cool Hockey, I thought, well, I wouldn't mind a hand customized name and number kit put on my jersey. I went with Ryan Miller with the Ducks because I thought, sure. And the white Anaheim Ducks, I think, is actually sharper than the black one. So yeah, now I can still wear this year. He's still with the team. And it solves the backup question. And the way that he phrased it, too, I thought was entertaining, that he said he's tried the 9 months of retirement due to the COVID shutdown in March. Anaheim hasn't played since then. He didn't really enjoy it. And so he's coming back. I think there are going to be players who do retire. We haven't heard from Chara yet, which is interesting, because the Bruins would very much like to have Chara signed. Training camp starts in about, a week and a half. So I'm surprised that Chara is not on the board yet. I think it's going to happen. But Ryan Miller coming back for a year. Good news for Anaheim and for their fans. He's a solid backup goaltender. And he may end up seeing a lot more action this year than he otherwise might have because of all the back-to-backs and because it's kind of a squash schedule. A schedule that I'll take a closer look at as we get closer to the season. I also made up a board last night for the previews, as I'm going to change the format that I use for the daily previews. I talked about that last season, and so it's going to happen this year, where the previews get likely a lot shorter, more to the point, and here's the teams that are going to play, and go get them, rather than some of them were long, and then there just wasn't. It's one of those things where I have to balance how much work goes into putting all of it together, and how much those videos perform and how interesting it is. So yeah, I'm going to cut back on the previews a bit. The reviews will not change, but the previews will. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.